Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel Edu Audio Teller. So today we are back with an ISC short story named The Story of an Hour by Kate Chopin. So the Story of an Hour by Kate Chopin is a really very short story, I must say, among the shortest short stories provided by ISC Council in their syllabus. Now it seems to be a very simple story, but actually it has a very deeper sense and a meaning in it hidden. So before starting the audiobook of this story, as we often do, let me say you about few words about it. Now the story of an hour builds up the circumstances for a lady who died who dies or who loses her life only because overwhelmed or because of getting overwhelmed. So better, let's get into the story first. So before starting the story, let's know about the author also. The author here is Kate Chopin. Kate Chopin was born Catherine O'Flaherty in St. Louis, Missouri on February 8th, 1850 and died on August 22nd, 1904 in St. Louis. Is considered one of the first feminist authors of the 20th century. Born to a prominent St. Louis family, Catherine O'Flaherty read widely as a girl. Married in 1870, Catherine followed the conventional path of a housewife until the untimely death of her husband altered the course of her life. She began to write about the Creole and Cajun people she had observed in the South. Her early novel At Fault, written in 1890, was not much noticed by the public, but The Awakening in 1899 was widely condemned. However, by the 1950s, scholars and others recognized that the novel is an insightful and moving work of fiction. Chopin was later also acclaimed for her family crafted short stories, of which she wrote more than 100. Talented and prolific, she was influenced by the French short story writer Guy de Maupassant. Chopin placed most of her stories in north central Louisiana, many in Natchitoches, and she published two significant short story collections, Bayou Flock in 1894 and then A Night in Acadie in 1897. Some argue that modern feminism has borne on her pages, and one needs to look no further than her 1894 short story, The Short Story of an Hour, to support the claim. This short story was first published in 1894 as The Dream of an Hour before being republished under the current title in 1895. The reader should note that the relationship of the leading figure in the story to the circumstances of Kate Chopin's own life. So we can relate that Kate Chopin wrote this story analyzing her own life story. She wanted the readers to know her story as well, so she used this story as a medium of that. Let's start the story of an hour by Kate Chopin. Knowing that Mrs. Mallard was afflicted with a heart trouble, great care was taken to break to her as gently as possible the news of her husband's death. It was her sister Josephine who told her in broken sentences, veiled hints that reeled in half concealing. Her husband's friend Richards was there too near her. It was he who had been in the newspaper office when intelligence of the railroad disaster was received, with Brentley Mallard's name leading the list of killed. He had only taken the time to assure himself of its truth by a second telegram, and had hastened to forestall any less careful, less tender friend in bearing this sad message. She did not hear the story as many women have heard. The same, with a paralyzed inability to accept its significance, she wept at once, with sudden wild abandonment in her sister's arm. When the storm of grief had spent itself, she went away to her room alone. She would have no one follow her. There stood, facing the open window, a comfortable, roomy armchair. Into this she sank, pressed down by physical exhaustion that haunted her body and seemed to reach into her soul. She could see in the open square before her house the tops of trees that were all aquiver with the new spring of life. The delicious breath of rain was in the air. In the street below, a peddler was crying his wares. The notes of a distant song which somewhere was singing reached her faintly, and countless sparrows were twittering in the eaves. There were patches of blue skies showing here and there through the clouds that had met and piled on above the other in the west facing her window. She sat with her head thrown back upon the cushion of the chair, quite motionless except when a sob came up into her throat and shook her, as a child who has cried itself to sleep continues to sob in its dreams. She was young, with a fair, calm face whose lines bespoke repression and even a certain strength. But now there was a dull stare in her eyes, whose gaze was fixed away off yonder, no one of those patches of the blue sky. It was not a glance of reflection, but rather indicated a suspension of intelligent thought. There was something coming to her, and she was waiting for it fearfully. What was it? She did not know. It was too subtle and elusive to name. But she felt it, creeping out of the sky, reaching toward her through the sound, the sense, the color that filled the air. Now her bosom rose and fell tumultuously. She was beginning to recognize this thing that was approaching to possess her, and she was striving to beat it back with her will, and powerless as her two white slender hands would have been. When she abandoned herself, a little whispered word escaped her slightly parted lips. She said, "It's over," and over under her breath, "Free, free, free." The vacant stare and the look of terror that had followed it went from her eyes. They stayed keen and bright, her pulses beat fast, and the coursing blood warmed and relaxed every inch of her body. She did not stop to ask if it were or were not a monstrous joy that held her. A clear and exalted perception enabled her to dismiss the suggestion as trivial. She knew that she would weep again when she saw the kind, tender hands folded in death, the face that had never looked save with love upon her fixed and grey and dead. But she saw beyond that bitter moment a long procession of years to come that would belong to her absolutely, and she opened and spread her arms out to them in welcome. There would be no one to live for her during those coming years. She would live for herself. There would be no powerful will bending hers in that blind persistence with which men and women believe they have a right to impose a private will upon a fellow creature. A kind intention or a cruel intention made the act seem no less as a crime as she looked upon it in that brief moment of illumination. And yet she had loved him sometimes. Often she had not. What did it matter? What could love, the unsolved mystery, count for in face of the possession of self-assertion which she suddenly recognized as the strongest impulse of her being? Free body and free soul, she kept whispering. Josephine was kneeling before the closed door with her lips to the keyhole, imploring for admission. "Lucy, open the door. I beg, open the door. You will make yourself ill. What are you doing, Lucy? For heaven's sake, open the door." "Go away. I am not making Go away. I'm not making myself ill." No, she was drinking in a very elixir of life through that open window. Her fancy was running riot along those days, ahead of her spring days and summer days and all sort of days that would be her own. She breathed a quick prayer that life might be long. It was only yesterday she had thought with a shudder that life might be long. She arose at length and opened the door to her sister's importunities. There was a fresh triumph in her eyes, and she cried herself unwittingly like a goddess of victory. She clasped her sister's waist, and together they descended the stairs. Richard stood waiting for them at the bottom. Someone was opening the front door with a latchkey. It was Bentley Mallard, who entered a little travel stained, composedly carrying his gripsack and umbrella. He had been far from the scene of accident and did not even know there had been one. He stood amazed at Josephine's piercing cry, at Richard's quick motion to screen him from the view of his wife. But Richard was too late. When the doctor came, they said she had died of heart disease, of joy that kills. So, this was the story of an hour. For more videos upon its explanation and notes, please do write us on the comment section, like the video, do subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching.